Hello everyone, welcome back. Another important thing that we should consider and learn is how to create explosions without using simulations. And this is something rarely talked about and rarely explained, and we need to learn how to use Houdini in all its tools, whether it's a sim or fake or anything really, as long as we can achieve the visual. And I wanted to show one of the effects that I did for this studio called Barnstorm VFX, and they do some amazing stuff. They did a lot of almost all the stuff for all the effects, visual effects for the Man on the High Castle TV show, and this demo reel contains some spoilers, so if you want to watch the TV show, that's perfectly fine. I'm gonna show a nuclear explosion that is not done based on a sim, or done based on a sim and procedurals. And let me find it. So this is the shot. And this is the nuclear explosion. You can see a ring and then some dust from the mountains and from the ground. So the way I've done this is, well, obviously, like you would start in every show or every R&D, you want to get this to look based on a sim. So, and I started doing that. I started doing sims. I tried to get that nice billowy, and they had this reference that I needed to match it close as possible. And after a couple of days, I knew that that path is not going to lead anywhere. So I resorted to something else. And the reference for this nuclear is a very famous reference where you have this ring billowing, and there is like a fine line inside the explosion that is emitting light or basically temperature and heat. And then you have this layer around the explosion that is evolving. And what I've done is, instead of doing sims for this, I basically created it based on various elements. So this column here is a procedural tube that I modeled and added noise, and I'm just moving the noise upward. Then I used it to slowly emit smoke to give it that, the advection feeling, as if it's a smoke sim. I mean, it is a smoke sim, but the idea behind it is to give it that realism feeling, and as if it's evolving. This bottom ground is a separate sim. So this one I created a lot of, I created a sim, and then I used one of the frames, duplicated the frame multiple times, and I simply filled the ground around it, and then I let that fall down. So because this was a specific shot, when we cut into it, we want to see that effects right away. So I had to design everything that looks perfect for this. For this one, it's a fully procedural thing. There's no sim. So I modeled the shape of the geometry. I used NURB surfaces, and then I converted the NURB surfaces into a volume, but made sure that I have a UV coordinate, and that UV coordinate allowed me to move a noise pattern, and I used it to add some distortion, some noise, and that gave me the revolve feature. And then I created something similar with a ring, with basically a line inside of it, and that line is also evolving and rolling. And by combining all of these and building the fields by hand, I was able to get the look that I needed. So you don't have to always do sims. You can achieve a lot of things without doing sims. And then these mountains, each one of them is a separate sim. And then the ground is a sim, obviously. Yeah, the sim was way longer. It actually reached all the way up here, but the edit, they ended up cutting it. So what I'm trying to say is, not everything has to be sim. If you wanted to actually sim this and get this billowy effect, it would probably be really slow and really hard to achieve. And I want to talk about this maybe at the end of the workshop. I want to show how we can do some of these effects as well. So that's another thing I wanted to talk about. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.